and people come and say, all those pilots in Kenya are just spoiled brats of rich people because they're the only ones who could afford it. And when you see us driving on the road and we are going fast, it's not because we don't realize that we are going too fast.
You're accustomed to that.
Yeah, you're accustomed to that speed. Okay, so
it's a deep question.
Yeah, I want to just for now, the guys who are watching this, there's a gentleman. He was called Captain John Mutua. We call him Johnny. Unfortunately, he passed away. I remember he sat us down and we were brand new, and he told us, guys, you have to make the connection between having a good life and you're flying. I like you people. We were at a union event, and the union, it's open bar, so we're having a drink, and he said, I like it when I see you guys drinking. And that time when we saw him, we were trying to hide our drinks out of respect. This guy at that time was flying the 76, senior captain.
767 guys. So also.
So we're trying to hide our drinks. He's like, no, please have a drink. You guys are like my kids. And he told us, please make the connection between work and play. Without work, you'll not be able to play. And that stuck with me. So I always try to tell even my colleagues, the young ones, you can't show up to work hangovered. You cannot show up to work unprepared, because you'll be fired immediately. And don't give me excuses that, yesterday was my friend's birthday, or my girlfriend, or my wife had said, that woman will leave you when you don't have the money. It's very simple. Don't show up to work unprofessionally. Always be a professional. And that's what I try to live by. When it's work, it's work. When it's play, I can play because I've worked and I have the finances because of this work. So respect your job. Always respect your job. Respect yourself. What he told us shaped my life personally. I've had friends who have been fired. I know people,
and some of those
people have been fired because of partying,
and some of those
unprofessionalism.
Summary dismissal, like showing up inebriated is
my God, you can even be taken to court for manslaughter. It's happened. That is, they say attempted manslaughter. It's called attempted manslaughter because you wanted to kill people. So my mama usually tells me,
your wife?
Yeah. That she thanks God for Kenya Airways because the job put me on the straight and narrow. Yeah, because she tells me when you go on leave or something, all hell breaks loose. It's too much. Go back to Jobo. So the work has actually, me personally, it has taught me, it's taught me a lot of self-discipline, responsibility. You're carrying 189 lives.
That dawns on you when I joined an airline. That when I caravan, it's a different ballgame when you come to the airline. Look, that's the sheer number of people you're carrying.
It's crazy.
It dawns on you quickly. Yeah.
On the 76, we used to carry like 200 and something, and I used to be like
200 diagonal 10.
Yeah, something like that, or 12. I think it was diagonal 12.
That's 12 crew, 200 passengers, 12
pilot, co-pilot, and then
all
10
the cabin crew.
Yeah. And I used to ask myself, my God, how? Yani, these people, it's me. And by the way, just to ask me about corporate and flight ops. and other careers. Even a doctor, the best neurosurgeon in the world, he deals with one life at a time.
At any given time, yeah.
Me, at any time, I've got 200 and something plus my life. And I always tell people, my life is more important.
I know, it's so funny. I used to tell that to my students.
Yeah.
I used to tell them that pilots don't save lives because they love you so much. They love themselves.
Yes.
So because I love myself, I want to make sure this aircraft survives.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not that, oh my God.
If they made us work from home, this thing they were saying that you can fly a plane at your house remotely. Oh my God, they're going to lose people because
you need to care.
There's a problem. Well, it was good knowing them. But right now, I'm in the thick of things. Like all these issues I've gotten, the first person I think about is not my partners. And this is just honest. There's a door here that's bulletproof. Those are not the first people I think about. This is the honest truth. First person I think about is my kids. I'm like, gosh.
I need to go home to this guy.
You're
a father of?
2, a boy and a girl.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the first thing I always think of. I'm like, I need to get back.
How did you keep your feet on the ground? And by feet on the ground, I mean, the proverbial issue when guys join airline. Especially, may I always say, if I joined my job now in my 20s, I would have probably not been here because of happy. But I joined at a more mature stage in life, having lived a bit of life under my belt.
Yeah.
I know guys who were in air school together, they're cake. You guys never used to drink, now they're alcoholic,
Yeah.
How do you keep your feet as an A4 when you are still in the mid-20s, I'd say?
See, I told you what the guy told me. That
kept you grounded.
That kept me grounded real quick because he told us you will go home. Those are the words he said. You will go home.
And you've seen guys.
You will be saying... and he told us, I have seen people go home. And it's unfortunate that this guy passed away, and I think it was related. But his honesty was so real and direct. And
sometimes that's what you need. Yeah.
He just told me, you'll go home. You'll go home. And Kenya Airways will continue.
And that's another thing about corporate. When you're on the wrong side of corporate, you realize just how much of a number you are. You're
just a number. You are not even them. They don't look at you as a human being. That's what I believe. You're just a staff number.
Staff number, that's true.
This one has done what? Home. This one has done what? Home. So you have to be careful. Me, like I said, that advice kept me grounded because I knew you won't be in this position forever. So the best I can do, and I'm not in control of anything, but the best I can do is guard my position as best as I could. And so that meant when you have a flight, you show up. You don't show up inebriated or with those effects. And another thing guys don't realize, for the guys who want to join this career, people think that when this guy became a pilot, now we never see him. It's not because we are trying to stay away from you. So we are working.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to be a pilot, they must realize that, number one, forget about family events, functions, you name it. When people are going for Christmas, you're the guy who's getting them.
Just this morning, I was given a lecture by my wife, and mind you, I fly locally. I only go to Goma. About how I'm not managing my time well. And I'm like, you know how us guys job. And she's like, you had promised us to do something this month. I can't remember promising. And she's like, but you make time for your podcast thing. How come you can't make time? I'm like, what? And that's just in my context where I'm not going long haul. I'm not going away for long periods of time. So now you mentioned you're a pups. So at some point, especially because you've flown all fleet, you've done the 737, then you went up 767.
76.
And the bigger just means farther. You're going farther and farther. And farther in the context of flying means you're staying there longer. There's minimum rest times required because of crossing different time zones. So now when your kids are young, I'm imagining there's some gaps you end up experiencing.
Very many. It's sad, but I try and sit to them and I tell them, like my son is about to turn 12. And he tells me he doesn't like my job. He tells me, Dad, we miss you so much. You're never around. I tell the guy, my guy, come with me. I walk with him into the house. I tell him, you live where? In Karen. Remember that. You go to school where? In Karen. Remember that. You're driven around in what car? Remember that. You got an iPhone? Remember that. You have got PS5? Remember that. You got I point out everything and I tell him, now all that is from work. And this guy told me, that's why children are so innocent. He told me, I don't need them. Ooh, I need you. Man. My God.
Start typing.
That guy, That guy, when I talk about him, I looked at him, I was like, after I've mentioned all these things, this guy, him.
And that's quite a common theme with aircrew in terms of buying stuff. It's your way of appeasing the fact that
you're trying to. You're trying to buy their love. You're trying to. So it's a very difficult field. In that family life is affected. Your social life is. People used to say pilots have money because they would come and find us on a Monday.
Yeah,
we are in the club.
Like a loose Monday.
Yeah, we're in the club. And we are turning up. Day. But that's the only day. We've been away the whole weekend. When you people are partying and doing whatever, they come and find us on a Tuesday afternoon in a bar. We're drinking. But it's because I've landed yesterday. It was Monday. I'm going to be working on Wednesday. I can only drink until 3 o'clock.
I need to emphasize this for the younger viewer because there's a gap. You see, sometimes people might see Malu in the club, Captain Malu in the club, and think, hey, I can be a turn-up guy and a captain, not knowing that the work is 95%. That small part that you think you saw and that you think many people make that mistake. They don't understand how much work you're actually doing.
Correct.
By the time you're actually being spotted in a club. So there's that disconnect. So you'll find guys in flying school already trying to act like they've...
so wrong.
I fell into that trap young because I come from a family of pilots.
Okay.
And I used to see the small turn apart that these guys were working. So hard. Both of them did outstation life. So eventually, of course, I came to my senses and I realized, okay, that the work is actually majority of the time, not the other way around. So I think it's important for the younger audience to know that.
Yeah.
But now, without getting specific, because I just shared about like my wife lecturing me this morning. I've been 4 years, 1 year married. What about the marriage because of distance as well?
It helps.
It helps.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. My guy, do you know during COVID when we were grounded?
Divorces, huh?
We had several in our company. Me, I was a victim of that, but as you
reconciled.
Yeah, we tried to sort out.
Well done.
But what guys don't realize.
Your story is wild, huh?
If I didn't kill myself during COVID, let me tell you a story.
Go ahead.
When COVID, I told you, this is how bad it was. By the time I was 23, I was a millionaire. Now I've had money throughout, and it's like a tap that's never running dry. Just chums. I won top 40 under 40, when I was 33. I have companies, they're doing well. I'm rich, I'm rich, not just rich. I was well off. And then COVID hit. And everything came crumbling down. All the companies were just tumbling. Me, my savings that I've put aside, I ran and at that time we didn't know who was going to put a moratorium. So I had mortgages. I ran and I paid this one, I paid that one, I paid this one. I'm left with no money. I'm like,
And all
they
you
can
had- all you had to
auction those ones. But now I'm broke. I want you to understand. I'm now broke. All my companies are tumbling. Only two companies survived.
And salaries were slashed by 70.
At first, there was 0. Then we were being paid 18%. We were being paid basically to buy food. Okay.
COVID shook
So
things.
all this has happened. While this is happening, I'm trying to understand. You see, now I've been used to a certain kind of lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Now I used to laugh with, I was telling Mama once, I had a car that had bottles of 18 Glen in the boot. Because when I would go out, me I'm on Glen. And I won't drink the whole bottle. So see, I'll drink kidogo and then that's it. Put it in the boot. For like 3 months, that's what I survived on the back. Because now we're not flying. There is no flights at all. We are grounded. We are at home.
And then flying for pilots is also part of your therapy. So that's also been taken.
It has been taken away. So number one, I'm broke now. All of a sudden, I'm broke. I've used my savings to pay off the mortgages. I'm like, I was trying to save those houses because, Kenyans and property, that's the best thing. I've literally, at that time, COVID has just hit. We don't know that it's forever.
Yeah.
We didn't know we would come out of it. So my career has gone because who's going to fly planes? At that time, we're not even
aviation
thinking.
was the worst, I think, one of the worst
It was
hits.
bad. Money, like I said, is gone. Social life, the people who would have helped you, you can't even see them or whatnot because you've been told to lock down. Even folks, you're scared of going to see your folks because you're afraid. They're saying they're vulnerable. Yeah, they're older. Your support system has clamped down. Then now, like for me, I'm told this thing is not working. My guy.
And that was that based off the whole package of things crumbling? Also, just now you have to be in each other's face on a daily basis.
I usually tell people, and this hard part, the reality of the matter is, money covers a multitude of sin. A multitude. So when you have money, they usually say a rich man's shit doesn't stink, because people overlook the flaws.
100%.
People overlook the flaws, and it's sad, but it's real. So when all these things start tumbling, and now you're vulnerable. Also, you don't know who to lash out at. So the only person I can lash out at is Mama. So she's just getting the worst of the worst.
Stress. All your stress is just pouring.
Yeah. And of course, there are mistakes you've made, because I've known her since 2004.
That's 20 years.
20 years, yeah. So I'm human. There are so many things I've done that are unforgivable, but she has forgiven me. And even her, they usually call it the last straw broke the camel's back. Yeah. So I can't blame her alone. Also me as to it. Of course, we are both to blame. But yeah, then while all this is happening, now I'm told this is not working. Then I go to look for a house. I remember I went to Muthaiga. I was looking for a house to start afresh. See, now alone.
Solo dolo.
And I'd always wanted to live in Muthaiga. And then they had just made that road. It's called what? Outer Ring Road. Is it Outer Ring or Jogo Road? This road that comes all the way to Thika Road, to the Embakasi.
I know the road you're saying, but I don't know if...
I think it's Outer Ring.
Yeah.
It's Outer Ring, eh? Yeah. So they've just built Outer Ring. So I'm like, the only reason I never wanted to stay, I couldn't live in Muthaiga, was the distance. So I'm like, let me drive there, see houses and see whether it can work. So I drive there, I see the houses. I'm alone. I was with a friend of mine also. So we were trying to pick 2 houses. Maybe we'll be given a good deal because it's now in the midst of COVID. The expatriates have left the country. These houses are empty. The prices they're offering for these houses are cheap. So I'm like, okay, so I see this really nice house. We leave. Curfew's at 7. I had a company that KQ, first of all, we could travel us because when you're on official duty.
Or you had somewhat of a pass or something?
You just show your pass. Kenya Airways, it's called essential services. Yeah. Then that friend I was with, he owned a company that does food distribution. So, and I used to help him out with his company here. I was a director in his company. So I also had that. So I don't know why we were rushing, but I told him, I think it was the hustle of the cops. The cops would still hustle you. No, this is
Kenya. You have to conduct them something small, yeah.
So I tell him, let me go digs before.
Was it 9 or 7?
It was 7. 7 was the...
Before it was revised, yeah.
It's 6:45 and I'm on that road. Man, the road just ends. Kumbe, they've not marked it correctly. These days they've marked it. I was in a very bad car crash. Very, very bad.
This sounds like anyone. First, did all of this shake your faith because career is on pause for everyone because of COVID?
Yes.
You're saying their businesses have crumbled?
Collapsed. Businesses that I was sure would... when I was winning top 40 under 40, those are the businesses that had put me on the map.
Your better half has said, touche,
Cheers.
It's been real. And then car accident. Now, and
then the car accident, because of COVID, I'd put the car on third party. So it was just gone right off.
And now as a believer, did that shake your faith? Like, Ama, that was now what you clinged on to. All of these things come.
Now, this is what happens. When I looked at the car, the car was written off. Like, people, when the cops came, they were like, wamepelekwa hospitali gani? So I'm telling the cops, no, it's me. And I'm standing. I'm like, no, it's me. They're like, no. Tunataka ule alikuwa ndani ya gari. Sio, I'm like, this is my car. It was me. They're looking at me and they're telling me, my God. And you're okay? Shukuru Mungu. Shukuru Mungu wewe. Shukuru Mungu. Thank you, God. So when all these things are happening, I'm like, could have been worse. Could have been. Then my dad, eventually, that day I was so down. Because now we had to evacuate people with COVID and whatnot. I was one of the guys who, because I was not in isolation, I would go and do COVID tests and then I go and fly.
This time you're flying the Embraer or the 73?
Embraer. So, and it's Embraer that's doing those things. These are officials. They want to go to Kisumu. They want to go to Mombasa. There's a charter to take someone to somewhere. I was the guy. You go, do your tests. You test negative. Then you're cleared to fly. When you come back, you're put in isolation.
Hotel?
When there's no. At that time, it had reduced. The guys who used to be put in the hotel were not lucky. Them, they had come from international destinations. Me, that day, the lockdown happened, I was very lucky. I had done a Mombasa flight. So when they collected all of us and told us we are all international guys are going to the hotel, I told them, hey, me, I've come from Mombasa. And they're like, Mombasa. So they had to call Jobo.
Confirm.
Jobo had to call Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health said, no, but he has been in Kenya. But where was he before? And I was like, no. You have asked, today is when it has started. I was in Mombasa. So I was told, okay, go. So now the officials, we are the ones who used to carry them like to Kisumu, to Coastal.
Which helped also
a lot.
Mshahara a bit.
No. There's no money. The money was the same. So you're being given it was 18% of your salary. In fact, you're annoyed because you're using fuel to come to work. And everyone is getting the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So, because of the testing, I could see now my folks, because I would tell them, hey, I tested negative today. Can I come see you? And there's a day I was seated with my dad and I was telling my dad, Aki, Dad, me, I don't know what I did wrong, but God has really punished me. Why is this happening to me? And I was literally in tears. I'm telling him, Daddy, the companies, the what? Yani, it's apocalypse for me. Then my father stopped and asked me, who did all that? I asked him, what do you mean? He said, all those things you've told me. Did I give you any of them? I'm like, no. He's like, who did that? See, it's you. And are you still here? So you can do it again. Now stop this nonsense.
Stop this crying nonsense.
Yes.
That's important.
Be a man.
That's importance of a
Be
father.
a man. Your children, you have 2 kids. That time my daughter was born in 2020 during COVID. Your kids need their father, not a wuss. You know, a man will tell you the truth.
A father.
Yeah, be a man. Do the right thing. I was like, good talk. And after that, now I just dealt with it. I just knew.
And now
changes.
Relating with you, no one can, like, if you didn't share, I would not have imagined you went through such a crazy season. But I also want to, because, you know, that also ties into something I had with my previous airman guest, and we're talking about the idea of not just being a pilot. In as much as you're a pilot, you've talked about running companies.
Yeah.
Me, I'm doing a podcast. It's a new advent, but this is my form of artistic expression.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm foreseeing viability, even business-wise. Yeah. So for you, amidst all the flying, you know, sometimes people get into that box. A pilot, all I'm talking about is Boeings and speeds, and did you see? And then class is greener syndrome,
Yes.
where Riyadh is better, Indigo is better, Emirates is better.
Yes, those are our discussions.
Yeah, that's always.
I think you need to put that into context for your viewers, because they won't understand what you're saying, which is so real.
Yeah, you know, grass is greener syndrome in the aviation context is everyone. The guy I interviewed before flies Mira. Okay. Now, us guys sometimes are like, but those guys are being paid so much.
Yes.
Now, those guys sometimes are like, but us guys, but those guys are safe. But,
yes.
you know, they get to wear the uniform thing. Now, us guys look at you guys like, oh man, these guys are doing international. They're getting paid better. These guys are looking at Emirates, but Emirates, you get, they pay school fees for up to 4 dependents. And then Emirates guys are looking, hey, but Riyadh is about to launch. And then guys in Emirates are like, hey, but I miss home. Like, it's...
It's such a... I love how you've broken it up. I think that's why you're the host of this thing. That is exactly it.
Yeah.
It's a constant cycle.
And it's so funny. The other day, they've started advertising Emirates for even turboprop guys.
Yeah.
And I clicked the link and then I went to the lifestyle. You know, the old Emirates marketing for crew to come was always, come to Dubai, our house is so nice, our school fees. So these pilots, if you pay keen attention, there's a way they were talking that was different. They kept talking about do your research, which means it's not all that it's sold to be. You'll go there and then you're in Dubai, and how many times will you jet ski or paraglide?
First of all, guys don't realize Dubai is expensive. I was stuck in Dubai for a week last week. I was there
how cool flying is. You're stuck in Dubai for a week. Stuck.
Yeah. I flew in I left Nairobi on Sunday. I got back to Nairobi Friday night. I was stuck there. My guy, that place is expensive. It's expensive.
So the money equalizes.
You know, they're paid so well. They don't have taxes, first of all. This guy's money is... First of all, his salary is international. It's not like for my people, where people say they are overpaid. The salary is good.
Then school fees.
Then he's given a house. Me, I have to pay rent. With this salary of mine, that's lower, I have to pay rent. Him is given also a house. Then me, I have to pay for my kids' school fees. Him is paid for school fees.
Up to?
Then he's picked...
4 kids.
Me, I've got to drive to work and stuff like that. This guy is picked up. I have to pay for laundry for my uniform. This guy gets everything. Until you're like, God damn, what am I doing in Kenya?
And then, but there's the other side of the story where guys go there and maybe your wife is a professional. It takes a while before she can get a job, or she doesn't get a job.
Correct.
Then comes she's idle, she's disgruntled.
Yes.
You're never home. You've
home.
moved your farm, but you're never home because you're always globetrotting. And now I think in Emirates it's worse. Like you're literally never home.
Yeah.
And let's also be real, man. Dubai is a tough place to live, man.
It is. It's a desert.
It's hot as hell.
Like right now, it was 40 something degrees. I was there. I can tell you, I was outside for a maximum of 1 hour in that week.
Yeah.
It was just air conditioned.
That grass is greener thing. It's so important to tell people, like, make hay where you are. Make the best of where you are.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, like me, I love my job. I love where I am. There's a cultural thing where I work that I would not trade for maybe even where you work. There's that youth, that ability to kind of think outside the box, kidogo.
Yeah.
I thoroughly appreciate that. I hope it doesn't bite me eventually if I ever want to transition that side. But that's my honest opinion. And of course, you always hear people grumbling. And then there's the guys who also don't grumble and they just tell you, man, this place is actually good. Like they paint a picture of what you're actually getting vis-a-vis the idea that you think you'll get on the other side. And man, I really appreciate where I work, man. Like I can't take it for granted. And that grass is greener thing has burnt a lot of people. There's guys who, even now, their rep is that they jump from company to company.
So many.
Yeah.
I remember there's a guy, one of my friends, he went to Qatar. They were offering him command. He decided to go to Qatar.
Command is out, promotion to captain.
Captain, yeah. Me as a captain on the Embraer. So he went as a first officer. Whenever this guy would come back to Nairobi, he would call me and tell me, you broke pilot. Here calling yourself a captain. I have more money than you. And I would die of laughter. Because I'm like, it's your choice.
Yeah.
You're the one who chose that. And eventually, it was so difficult for him. He actually left that place. So now you get to realize it's a half full, half empty analogy. Is the glass half full or is it half empty? It's your choice. It's the same thing, but it's your choice how you look at it. Yeah. Me, I'm in Kenya, yes. I will see my kids maybe at least once or twice a week. If I go to another country, if they come with me, even let's say they come with me, I'll still see them like once or twice a week. But what will be the quality of life in that other country? These are now the things that me, when I'm assessing it, these are things I think of.
Do you think there's so much peer pressure also in the industry where guys just, this guy going to Qatar, we need to go to Qatar?
Yeah, there is. Because like I've told you, I was stuck in Dubs, and one of my very good friends is a captain now in Emirates. He left KQ when he was a captain on the Embraer, went to become a first officer, done the training. He's now a captain on the 777. So of course, when I look at him, I'm like, God, you're commanding a triple.
Is that bet?
No. This is it's called Faisal. 777.
Command Emirates.
Me, I'm on a 737. Yani, his engine is almost the size of my whole fuselage. So there's some pressure. He loves it. He's seeing the world. Mara is in Budapest. He's traveling the world.
Which is important to ask, because you've done it for long. Does it get old? The destinations, like how many times is Paris exciting before it's not?
Let me ask you a question. What I told you earlier when we started. I'm paid to go on holiday. How many times does Mombasa get boring when you go on holiday?
Actually, right, never.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's your attitude. If the moment you think, because there are guys who will say, guys we work with, like they'll be like, you're going to Douala? I hate that place. That's not how I look at it.
So
I'm like, I'm going to Douala, swimming pool, fish, French beers.
Do you always explore, or do you
I try. The first time, second time, after that, I've seen everything. Now you chill. So like, for example, like when I went to Dakar the first time, tried to do everything. Went to that island where, the famous island where Mandela is seen crying. When you're seeing where the slaves were being passed through.
The final door, was it?
Yeah, it's something. But you see that they've got something called the Pink Lake. You go and see that. You go and see the route that the Dakar Rally uses. You ride quad bikes. Do all these things.
That sounds exciting, yeah.
Yeah. The first time, the second time you go to the places you didn't go, that monument, the museums, and then now once you've gone to all these places, like if someone came to visit Nairobi, what would you tell them to do? Go to the national park, go to Giraffe Center, go to
maybe a couple of nice malls, maybe go
elephant thing. Malls, you can shop anywhere. Come on. For the experience, you want them to go to like Carnival, go and eat, meet. Now, once they've done all that.
So how do you build your structure outstation?
See, now you start
discipline, like things like gym, things like, what's your routine? Because you see all these pilot, what are they called? Vloggers and all. Yeah. There's usually like a template, gym, workout, culture, because probably these guys have done the whole thing you've described. Yeah. So what's your routine? How about you lounge?
Me, I relax.
Yeah.
When I'm outstation is when I'll watch episodes. That's when I'll catch up with, like, if I showed you my WhatsApp messages right now, you'll want to hang yourself. I think I've got 700. My emails, I've got, I think, 18. Let me just check. I think I've got like 18,000 emails. I'm not lying. Like, literally, look at WhatsApp messages are 8,560. Down here, as you can see, 8,560.
Not a lie, actually. Yeah. 100%.
Emails are 133,214.
So you sift and start like corresponding.
Yes. Now, because I start literally trying to go through everything. I'm still stuck in the older generation. This texting, WhatsApping, I'll get to it eventually. The problem is I'll get to it maybe a week later or something. But I'll see a message like we had the same issue with you.
Yeah, to be fair, no, but you are not too bad. In fact, at some point, I'm like, I hope I'm not bothering him. Like,
no. It's just, I mean, if it's urgent, you'll call me. That's my perspective on everything.
Yeah.
If it's urgent, you'll call me.
It was a cold summer night. You were watching Every Other Time with Eric. At some point, you realized you haven't subscribed. Subscribe now to get more content. This summer, coming to theaters near you. Ho, hey, ho, hey.
With all due respect, this is now episode 7 Airmen, guys. You guys you're watching without subscribing. How? You've reached this part in the story and you not subscribe. Take a second there, man. Hit the subscribe button. Still here with Captain Fredrick Malu. What a wealth of information so far, man. I wanted to touch on business, bro, because you captured the COVID season so well. Like, I'm sure there's so many people, because many people things came tumbling down, and here you are. Like, no one would imagine, no one can tell that you went through such a season. But you touched on something that I want to capture about being also a biashara guy whilst being an airline pilot.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how people get trapped in that cocoon of everything is flying, and flying is amazing, but it can end up defining you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So what are the roots of diversifying? How did you get that acumen?
Wow. That's interesting. I've never thought of it. I think every Kenyan especially, we are entrepreneurs, we are hustlers.
At heart, yeah.
Yeah. So we're always looking for something to do. So I've been a director in a construction company, built maternity wards, classrooms and whatnot. It was called Achpila Contractors, fell. I was a director with DJ Cream de la Creme, a guy called Tele. Yori is a DJ protege. We had a company that was an entertainment company Also that fell during COVID. It was doing well.
How do you balance the? Because I've found there's this loop that we get into as people who make salaries, where the biggest mistake is adjusting your lifestyle up, and then now you start working for bills.
Yeah.
Whether it's rent, school fees.
Oh, I cannot give you advice on that because right now I'm working for bills.
Because the last month for the first time, because there's certain things I had to offset, car insurance, car service. I found I'd worked that month, and I just felt like as soon as I got my salary, and it felt very vulnerable. I was like, "Wait, middle class is a hoax." Like
it is a hoax. I'm telling you, the rug was pulled out of under my feet. People don't realize that the middle class, we're just 2 paychecks away from poverty.
That's not a lie. That's not a lie. Can shake your existence to the core, actually.
Dude, I was living in a bubble. I'm telling you, I was thinking, I've made it. I've made it. Look, mommy, I made it.
We've seen it with senior crew who, post-retirement, you see them and you're like, this guy probably did 35 years, 30 years, and it doesn't add up. And it's a scary thought. That one scares because, again, I'm fresh in the airline vibe, and that working for a paycheck, I don't have kids yet, but I can imagine it already. Just
let me start telling you. School fees is expensive. It's expensive. My God. I laugh about it. Yesterday, I told you I was sitting with my dad after I got back from work. And, like he lives the life now through me. So he'll be like, how's Cape Town? How's what? I'm trying to tell him the experiences, what was going on. Then we realized, I told him what it cost to do my PPL. Something that took us 1.5 years to come up with that money. Every 3 months. It's school fees for my 2 kids. Wow. Like, it doesn't make sense.
And you can't run away from school fees. Yeah.
You can't. And the mom went to those kinds of. Me, I was in Strathmore, so I've got one of my colleagues. He's a captain also in KK. In fact, he's a training captain, and he loves telling people, Malu, what was your school fees in Strathmore? And at that time, I think we're paying like 100K or something like that. And he laughs. And he's like, him went to Upper Hill. Upper. And that 100,000 for one term of mine paid for all his 4 years of education. And he laughs and he tells me, and look.
We're the same place.
Yeah, we are the same place. But always tell him, but there's quality of life. And now this pushes me back to also what I was talking about, the other countries, going to another country. Fine. My colleagues who stay in Dubai, they've got a villa in an estate. Paid for. It's a really nice place. Okay, now superimpose that on me. I live on an acre in Karen. I've got a river. My kids have got a trampoline, they've got a swing, they've got a slide. I've got a bouncing castle for the kids.
And I've
got a gazebo. I've got quality of life.
And you don't have to, the catch with those places is you're forced, it's like a artificial community.
It's so plastic. And that's what I called it. Because I was there 1 week. I told them, this place is plastic.
Yeah.
It's just good to look at, but
there's no rich culture for foreigners. Like, then they put pilots, okay, you guys now stay in this store.
Yes.
You would never ordinarily naturally live like that, man. Like,
no.
It's such an abnormality.
I would want to live close to my friends, yes. But what if I'm
organically?
Yeah.
Not in that way.
Yeah. So the thing people don't realize is there's quality of life in everything. Fine, you'll go to, like, another friend of mine, he's now in Cathay Pacific. He lives in Hong Kong.
What's that like? That's a culture shock.
And he's telling me, it's good. Then I sat down with him when we're having a drink and I told him, so what do you do? He's like, he lives in a hotel. I'm like, oh my God.
Is he with the family there?
No, He's not married, but I think he's dating or something.
That's such a cultural difference. Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hong Kong was good to go. We used to go to Hong Kong for 3 days. Party, see the place, come back, factory reset. But now imagine living there. There's a guy who has gone to the States. He's now flying there. He's very happy because, the States is now paying very well. But I ask him, so when don't you get homesick? And he's like, just deal with it. Come for holiday.
I know a big part people leave out about the States. In as much as Kenya is woke, westernized, your kids being raised in the States is different, man. Like
anywhere. I think anywhere.
The cultural implication that you put on your kids in the States is different than anywhere else, because you'll have a divide in your home based off morals, values.
You're joking. My friend told me this, Dubai, another friend, he's got his kids in Dubai. Him and his wife both work in Emirates. And he said he was called to school because he spanked his child. And he was told, hey, if we hear about this again, we're going to report you. I'm like, spanked your child. Me, just this week, I told my son did some nonsense in the house. He had slime. I don't know. Guys who have kids would understand. It's something called slime. I threw it on the ceiling. And his uncle was there. And I'm like, while he was doing this, what are you doing? He's like, I told him to stop. He was like, nothing. Then he started wailing like he has been beaten. When I go back from Dubai, I told him, my friend, I'm going to beat you like a thief. Literally. And I'm going to start, from now on, I'm using my belt. Where else am I going to put the fear of God in my children? Me, I was beaten until I used to think I'm adopted.
In the States.
I used to tell my dad, hey, but daddy, me, I'm black. You're black.
My pops, a guy, one of the top 2 people I love most in the world, punched me in the face, as in proper jab.
Are you serious? What have you done, man?
To be honest, I deserved it. I mouthed off. You've crossed the line. You're like, oh, too late.
Yes, too much.
I didn't even complain. That one was.
It was
you needed to
deserved.
Check me, put me in my place. But it's true that the cultural implication of some of these places, man. Like me, I've been to Dubai severally. It's great to visit. I can't imagine living there.
Even me.
Qatar as well, the States as well. I used to think I could live in the States, but that time I was not thinking about kids, and raising kids. I was thinking as me, because I can determine my values.
Yes.
But now kids who are being influenced by the wider society,
exactly,
you end up being an old head in your own home, because of cultural values. But I got to ask also, because there are 3 things that I'm sure everyone thinks about in the aviation context. Obviously, one is favorite aircraft, favorite destination, scariest flight. Favorite aircraft that you've flown. You've flown the Piper, Cessna 172, 152, 150, 152, Piper 28, Seneca. You've flown the 737 Classic, 737 NG. You've flown the 767.
Yes.
You've flown the 777.
No, I did fly the 777. I got command. When I was supposed to fly the 777,
Have you flown the Dream?
No.
Okay.
Next
is the Dream.
Yeah.
And you've commanded the Embraer and you've commanded the 737.
Yeah.
Favorite aircraft?
Technology-wise.
No, all round. Because technology is a no-brainer. You say Embraer. But all around.
Embraer was nice. I've not flown the Dream, but I hear it's like a big Embraer. So I would think the Dream would win. But for me, aircraft-wise, the Embraer was amazing because it had all the toys and whistles, and it's a really nice plane.
Relatively easy to fly.
It was easy. For me, it was very easy. The 737, is, like you said, it's a legacy of Boeing. It's a most sold plane in the world. But what guys don't realize, when was it developed?
It's retro. Even
it's very old.
I saw toggles when I was doing the interview.
Still.
What?
Yeah, so it's very manual, especially for the co-pilot. The captain's job is to just look.
So the flows.
But these guys just here, doing all these things. fact, you somewhere them, sometimes tell them, way, start using Dio or something. You cannot be stinking up my cockpit. So it's a lot of work. 7.6 was the same, old aircraft, but so stable.
I've seen the overhead panel of the 7.6. I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on there, man. Yeah.
So favorite aircraft as a pilot was the Embraer, but from what I hear, 787 is better. It's like a bigger version of it. So maybe, hopefully, next year, if you call me again, I'll be telling you about the 787.
And that's the apex of aviation worldwide. I think the only competitor now is the 350.
A350.
A350 is bringing beef. But
but you see, it's joystick. Man,
let me tell you,
flying a plane is the yoke.
I was a Boeing guy at heart forever, but the more I just do some research, I know Airbus gets a bad rep about redundancies and over reliance on automation and the different philosophies around how Boeing gives pilot information and ultimate control. Airbus has this override under culture.
Yes.
So there's that fight, but Airbus it's quite something. What do you think about what's happening with Boeing? Do you think they're getting a bad rep, like there's a PR smear campaign, or there's a cultural shift?
Okay.
Because Boeing has been going through it.
Corporate and flight ops. Let me just say that these guys started concentrating too much on the business side of it instead of retaining their legacy as being a safe aircraft manufacturer. That's my take. That's my personal take. I hope it gets better for them. But
they've been killing whistleblowers, not one or two or three.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying they need to get back to what made them Boeing. When you see the interviews and whatnot, even the Senate, when they've been called to the Senate in the States, they even ask them, are you being serious? Are you guys being serious? What are you doing? Where did you drop the ball? And that's the gist of it. They need to get their act together.
Do you think that stems from how Airbus, the competition was getting too hot? Or
no, it's just capitalism. They just wanted to make more money, cut corners, make more money.
Would you fly the MAX? I would. And I don't.
This is so funny because I told you I'm an aircraft accident investigator. So when Ethiopian went down, I was actually called by, I think they're called CTGN, as a specialist to have a conversation about it. I think it's called China Global.
I know the channel.
Yeah. And what I said there came to pass. Like I told them, it seems is a system that they didn't inform pilots about, and this system is what is
MCAS.
The MCAS is what caused the accident. And I told them it's quite unfortunate that they were saying it's because it wasn't Boeing first said they weren't American pilots. If it was an American pilot.
That was so... And those ET guys, even at the last minute, the A4 almost did the right thing at the last minute. In fact, subsequently, there's a procedure you're supposed to do.
It's just like runaway stabilizer. That's a procedure that was being taught, just being emphasized. But, when we are seated back here talking about it, we've got... Hindsight is 2020.
They call it Monday night football coaches when you can talk about Super Bowl.
Yes, on Sunday,
retrospectively.
Yeah. But when you're in that plane, people will give you all sorts of.
You saw it happen with Captain Malu at some point before they gave him his flowers. At some point they were trying to say
he was the reason.
You could have landed it. You could have gone back to Titobor. You could have gone to LaGuardia. And the guys like, you guys, I was airborne with guys on board. And I've just hit a flock of geese. As in, Abu chill. Like the real time. And mind you, this guy saved everyone. You can imagine you've saved everyone safe. And then guys are telling you, hey.
But that's a tragedy of our job. The saddest thing as an aircraft accident investigator, the first thing we do when there's an accident, pilots, and we'll dig into you until we'll even go to your hotel room and go through the trash to see, was he drinking, what was he doing. It's terrible. They say we are first eliminating human error, but I always feel like the first person we want to blame is you. Now after we can't blame you is when we now move to the equipment.
What do you think about the idea that the human element is the most vulnerable element in the whole system?
It is, but it's also
the last line of defense.
So it's a double-edged sword. The human being can make an error. Like I told you, 70% of all accidents, captain was flying and killed people. But this is of all accidents. Out of all accidents, aviation is still the safest means of transport statistically.
By far.
So after every 1 million takeoffs, they allow it to be 0.001. It's allowed. Because if it wasn't a business, they would make parachutes for all the people on board. If anything happens, you jump off. But the fact is, it's a biashara. It's business.
It has to make sense.
We allow, when you see the statistics, it's crazy. They allow an accident every 0.001 in a million takeoffs.
So there's collateral attached to the whole.
Yes. And when they're asked, why don't you just make it more safe? They're like,
money.
Now, where will you get that? There'll be, no one will be able to fly. Imagine having to buy your own parachute or putting, like these days, the rich people have this kind of plane where in case of anything, it detaches and parachutes open and it comes in. It's because that guy can afford it. A normal person who's doing biashara or going on a trip or whatnot, they can't afford that. So it's sad, but the fact is that they factor in fatalities in the aviation industry, but also on the roads. So I'm saying that also car accidents.
When they're being road tested, they know.
Yes, they say this was got a rating of 3.
In fact, the argument around what are they called, autonomous cars, was that Elon was saying, irrespective of that chance or that car loophole that eventually one will crash, it's still 100 times safer than your typical car which is driven by a human.
Yes.
But there's that disconnect in humanity. So, but the answer I got was yes, you'd fly a Max, basically. Boeing 737 Max, that was the genesis of all of Boeing's problems. You plead the fifth.
If KQ buys it, why not? But I'm very uncomfortable with that plane. It just had too much going on with it. Yeah, but I mean, it's the employer. I don't have the money to buy my own plane and fly it. So,
favorite destination? No, let's go scariest flight. Scariest, most gut-wrenching. Where you thought about why did I go to Kenya school? Yeah, I should have been an accountant.
It was. I'll never forget. And it's not these ones where I've had incidences. I was a new captain on the Embraer. And I was leaving Entebbe, of all places. Yani next door. Not at Douala or Abidjan or what. I was leaving Entebbe. I lined up on the runway and the weather radar was red. So I was like, this weather is bad. Then my first officer told me, no, those are just ground returns.
Ground returns. Tilt, wake a tilt.
You just let's take off. We are fine. She was more experienced on the aircraft than me. So I was like, oh, really? I put the power. Immediately I got airborne.
Wind shear.
I was like, Jesus, I should have been on ground. The turbulence, it was a nightmare. Until you grab your seat. And I'm like, what the hell have I gone into? Until I'm looking at this person, I want to hit her. Like, what have you done to me?
Does your life flash?
Nah, my life has never flashed.
You kept, within the panic, you kept calm.
Oh, yeah, no. So now I had to evade it, maneuver, get out. Yeah.
And it's so funny how...
Funny enough, I told you I just came from Cape Town. As I was landing into Cape Town, as soon as I touched down, I just got a wind shear ahead. And I laughed. I was like, thank God I'm on the ground.
Touchdown.
Yeah. So, aviation is full of risk, but there are very many mitigating factors that are put in place. There are very many redundancies to try and stop it. But at the end of it all, the person who is left as the last line of defense is you, the pilot.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd always say I would never fly in a plane that has no pilot. I don't care whether it's the worst pilot ever, but at least let there be a pilot. Because should the machine fail, and all machines fail.
I just 2 weeks ago, like I was saying earlier, I shifted my mentality. I was all about it's inevitable, which it is, but I was like, yeah, at some point there'll be one crew for sure, and at some point there'll be no crew. But the other day when I saw how that automation behaved and how potentially that could have ended up, and I was like, wow, no, you need a human.
Yes,
you need someone to see,
yes,
to capture that.
Yeah.
And again, if it was single crew, it may not have been picked up until later.
Correct.
So I have a healthy apprehension for automation.
Yes.
When you're coming from flying where there was no automation is like autopilot and all these systems where you're flying stick and radar, and then you find automation, like, wow, this is so nice, man.
Yeah.
I can program the approach. I can, But when you see it cough,
yes,
you realize
that's
job.
But people think we are paid for the easy part. We are not paid what we are paid for the 99.999% flights that just go okay.
For that day.
The reason I'm paid is for that day. For when the windshield shattered, that's when I earned my salary. When I got a depressurization, that's when I earned my salary. Where I've gotten engine vibrations on an engine and had to carry back to land with one engine. That's what I'm paid for. I've gotten there's so many failures. There's so many things that happen that people don't know. You land and you think, oh wow, that was a good flight.
Do you share these things with your wife? Like things that you go through, like emergencies?
Yeah, how she knows. She
can take it.
Yeah. I think she knows that I'd never do anything else. Because there are times she has told me, forget about this flying, man. Let's do something else. And I tell her, and then I'll be a bum. Like I told you earlier, she said it's aviation that keeps me straight and narrow. So as long as I'm doing it, that's why guys retire. And
would you ever join Would you ever join the office side, the corporate side, like a post holder,
permanent?
It's most of those posts are kind of permanent. That's why the vetting and the KCA side come into play, which be like a chief or like a...
That I don't mind. But whatever I ever do, I'll insist
that you have to fly.
I still want to fly.
But in your context, you'd want such a post amidst like... Because in your environment, you have to be also a politician, I'm guessing, if you're one of those post holders. Because how do you placate your guys and the board? And then now you guys have a union.
Yeah,
of which we're not part of, but we'd love to be. But how do you balance? Because I hear in the airlines, any unionized airline, you're either pro or against. You're either a union or an airline guy. Is that true?
I think that's a problem. Me, I'm a union guy, pro-union, but we know that this is a business and it has to make money. So we're also pro-airline. It's just how you look at it.
Balance.
Yeah, how you look at it. If the company is not making money, you can't get paid. So I think it's how you look at it. I would join management in a heartbeat, but I would want to still fly. And the reason why I say I would join management is to make changes. The first thing I would tell them is,
what's holding us back?
See, people want to make profits. Cutthroat.
Because look at ET. ET I feel they built the infrastructure around the foundational elements of scaling an airline. And that's what has probably put
as we did it. See, we were doing it and then...
they copy-pasted apparently.
Yes, they took Project Mawingu plan, basically. But they are in a dictatorial regime, to speak.
Very different.
So there's no one who's coming to steal money from the airline. Us, unfortunately, most of the losses we've endured
is pilferage.
Yeah. So
wow, that's so. Does KQ exist to exist? You get what I mean?
Yeah. Without KQ, Kenya would go broke. The impact of Kenya Airways. Guys are always saying, it's always making losses, it's always doing what. First of all, if the company was run correctly, it would not make any losses.
It was profitable till not so long. It's such a distant memory.
Dude, when I joined KQ, I used to walk into a room and say I'm in Kenya Airways. People used to stand up. That's how big KQ was. Safaricom used to come and even get our uniforms and design their things. Ask our CEO at the time, how do we do this? How do we do that? The money we had, we used to lend it to the national government.
You guys had
our reserves.
Used to have bonuses, I hear.
Yeah, I could have bonus for Kenya Airways, my friend. And then all of a sudden,
so when that shift was happening, how did you stay when guys left? Like, how did you have the is it like a almost patriotic thing?
Yeah, like I told you, I wanted to be a pilot my whole life, and I wanted to fly for Kenya Airways. That was na 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 na. Since I was a child, I know this song, and now I'm living my dream. So it's difficult, but if push comes to shove, now I have to think about my family. So what is best for me?
And you're a spiritual guy. You do realize that even the domain we operate in is spiritual.
Yeah.
Like,
Kamsa?
Me, I felt it the first time I ever went to do interviews there. There's a thing at Pride Center. There's a thing. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy guy or trying to espouse paranormal activity. No.
Yeah.
But there's a thing. There's a principality that governs that whole thing. Yeah. Now, I don't know. There's a yin and yang, of course, that's fighting back and forth. And again, for those who look at things also with a spiritual lens, you would know what forces are fighting each other. Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. So, favorite destination before we go?
Favorite destination? God damn. In what way? In having fun?
All around. Like any?
Accra.
Wow, not have guessed Accra. Ghana?
Yeah, they speak English like us. Their culture is similar to ours. It's like you're being in Nairobi at the beach. So I really enjoy Accra. That being said...
More than your Cape Towns, more than your...
Cape Town is dope. Cape Town is actually good, but you see, it's because I've got friends in these places. So there's a guy who will tell you his favorite destination is Mumbai, but it's because maybe his family is there or he's of Indian descent or something like that. But me personally, I would never live in Mumbai. Would I live in Accra though? No.
It's expensive from what I hear as well.
Accra?
It's not really expensive. I've never been to here.
I don't think it's expensive. Places that are expensive are Dubai, Europe. Europe is quite expensive.
Are you looking forward to once you upgrade to dream to the JFK?
I just want to fly the plane. But if I could fly that plane and remain on the routes for the 737, that would be the sweet spot.
Anything else you'd like to say? Parting shot?
Believe in your dreams always, and your dreams do come true. And God is alive and cognizant of the fact that you exist. Make time to talk to him. People don't realize it that God knows, and there's some things you're not given. Like me, I've been telling God, I want the problems of Uhuru Kenyatta. I want to be a $1 billionaire. But would I be alive today if he gave me that money? Maybe I would have lost. See, I told you, my wife tells me I've been put on the straight and narrow because of
And that perspective is real because you always know the same I could say when I entered where I entered had to be when I entered.
Yes.
Otherwise it would have destroyed me.
Yeah. It's the truth. So always, and the law of attraction is real also. You attract what you want. So if you only think negative thoughts, that's what you'll attract. If you think positive thoughts, you'll attract it. And everything is within arm's reach for everyone. I'm not seated here talking like this because he's a captain Kenya Airways. He's got money. I wasn't that all I was not born a captain. I was not born with the money in my account. All this I got myself. Like my dad had said, who got it? You'll do it again. And I was like, no, but dad, opportunity only knocks once. That's nonsense also. If you want, you'll achieve whatever you need to.
I love it, man. Dreams are valid. I really relate to that. That is so deep and everything is within your reach. And do not put, I just add there, don't put ceilings on your dreams.
Nothing.
Don't base your dreams off society.
No.
There's so much more, man.
Yeah.
Captain Fredrick Malu, what a legendary episode. I would not have imagined it would have been that good, man.
It was awesome.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come. I mean, I'm a nobody. We just met serendipitously on an interview. May I know of you because you're a famous guy in the industry, but now Captain 73, and I reached out. You honored it so easily. Yeah. There was no airs about it. You've given us your story.
Yeah.
I really look up to so many elements of your story, bouncing back, having the discipline to scale all the way till where you've reached as a captain, being a father, being a husband. Man, it's been an honor, man. And I look forward to having you on again sometime.
Yeah, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Cheers, Miguel.
Every Other Time with Eric, that was episode 7. Captain Fredrick Malu, Airman. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Until next time, it's been an honor. Salute.